It is my privilege and my pleasure to introduce Heather Waegner. She is the founder and creator of Heather Waegner Photography. She is a kick-awesome photographer who's obsessed with understanding people and helping them show up authentically. She will help you create personal brand photos that showcase your true vibe. Heather has an associate's degree in psychology from Snow College and an associate's in photography from Salt Lake Community College. She currently works in the art department at Snow College as the photo manager, so some of you may know her there. And if you don't, go drop by. She's great. She has 4 kids and lives in Ephraim with her husband, Mark. So please welcome Heather Waegner.
Awesome, thank you. All right, hopefully you guys aren't super disappointed and you guys just signed up for lunch because you were so excited to meet with, I know that that's you, right? You were like so excited to meet with that guy? Okay, good. Okay, good. So I'm the consolation prize, sorry about that, but here I am, pinch hitting at the last minute. So, yeah, he told me yesterday, I tried to like watch a couple of the videos and figure out what the heck I was even supposed to be doing. So you guys get to hear my whole life history. Are you so excited? So excited. Okay. And I'm going to learn how to use a clicker. Okay. So I made this timeline yesterday of my entrepreneurial journey. All right. And it's obviously crooked. I mean, I didn't have a lot of time to really clean it up. This is like hard for me as a design person to like let you see it, but it's fine. Okay. So, as he said, I'm a photographer. I do personal branding and headshots. I haven't always done that. I started out doing like weddings and all of that, but we'll talk about that in a second. So my story started actually here at Snow College, back before probably all of you were born, back in the 90s. How many of you guys were alive in the 90s? Anyone? No one. Sweet. So before you were born, I was here. And okay, so I went to Snow, got my degree in psychology, which really doesn't mean anything at Snow College because there's not enough classes to really like do anything with it. But I really love learning about how people like think and why they are the way they are. So that kind of ties into a little bit what I do. So I was dating this boy and I thought, oh, this is the one. And then he totally dumps my butt. Like, he's like, you know what? This isn't it. Go find someone else. I'm not the one for you. And I was like heartbroken. And he was like here trying to console me. He's like, I really think that you need to get a hobby. I was like, oh, thanks a lot. That was his like way of making me feel better, I guess. I don't know. So the 2 things that I wanted to learn how to do was play guitar and learn photography. They're kind of stuff that I had always wanted to do, but I never did. And so I took a private guitar lessons, and that was super fun. And I have 0 pitch or 0 like rhythm. So that just really wasn't like my life calling. And then I also took a community ed class back then it was UVSC, but it's at UVU. I wasn't even in their college. It was just like a nighttime community ed class. And I took a photography class. I was like, oh, I really like this. And so I got a job working at a photo lab. This is like all convoluted because you guys really care. Because I didn't start this out thinking I'm going to be a photographer one day. It really sort of just like evolved, right? So I was working at this photo lab. This mean girl came in and she's like, I want some Ilford photo paper. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. And she's like, you're so stupid. But I had just started learning about photography. Anyway, so I felt really bad. And then a couple months later, show up in the MTC and there's that super mean girl that's like, you're stupid. You don't know anything about photography. And she's my MTC companion. So that was really funny and awkward. And we joked about it. And we're like, one day we should start up a business together. So I get home, go to school for photography at Salt Lake Community College. And then after that, I'm like, well, what am I going to do? Call up my companion and she's going to be moving to Utah. And I was like, we should start up our business. So we did. And at the time, our business was called Aya Photography, AYA. It meant nothing. We wanted to be on the top of the phone book because back then you had to be in the phone book to advertise. So named ourselves something random, did this joint thing together. There we are, aren't we? We went to Montana, by the way, which is why the cowboy hats. This is us on our way home. So our last day on the mission. Super exciting, right? I know. Everybody super cares about this part. Okay. So that's one thing. We started this business, and I went to school for photography. She was just like a hobbyist, and she liked it, and she had a good camera or whatever. And we butted heads a little bit, right? So it was hard for me. I'm like a control freak a little bit, and I really had a hard time like being in a partnership with somebody, because there was like, we were splitting everything equally, but I felt like I was doing a lot of the work, and anyway, so there was it was hard. I don't know. Are anybody, you guys in business together yet? Anyone have a business? Not yet. So yes. Okay. They always say like, be careful who you get into business with, right? Because it's hard. It's hard when you have a partnership. But I learned a couple of things when I started my business with her. I did not feel ready to start my business. I was like, wanted to have everything perfect. I wanted to know all the things. I wanted to go through. Anyway, I wasn't ready. And she's like, let's do it. Let's start doing weddings. And so she was still single. I had just gotten married, and we knew lots of people in that stage. So we started doing weddings, and we weren't very good, but she had this like, we had the naivety that we're like, yes, we're awesome, and let's just do this thing. So we did that for a couple of years, and then she ended up getting pregnant and wanting to just become a mom. And so she turned the business over to me. And so I ran the weddings, and I did a little bit of like babies and stuff, and then moved to Logan, got a studio up there, started doing more newborns, because that was the phase of life I was in. I had started having kids. And so my business started like kind of morphing as I was going along. Started doing babies and seniors and different things like that. And then that was all while my little boys were little. And then my husband finally finished school, and I was like, okay, I am going to retire from photography so that I can be a mom and not miss out on all the things that I did that I missed out on when I was putting my husband through school with my little boy. So I decided to retire for a little bit. And then my husband got a job, and we moved to Ogden, and he got sick and wasn't able to work anymore. So here we are in this new place. I have 0 clients in this area, and I've officially retired. Anyway, it was pretty fun. But since he wasn't able to work, I just had to get back and start doing it again. But I didn't want to be working nights and weekends doing the weddings and stuff. So I transitioned and I pivoted, and I started learning about brand photography. At that point, I joined a mastermind. Are you guys familiar with the idea of what a mastermind is for business? Okay, it's kind of like a coaching program. It's like we had a coach that was like facilitating all of us, but we gathered all of us. These are the ladies that were in our mastermind. And we all came together, and we learned from each other, and we had like hot seats. So we would go in and say, here's what I'm dealing with in my business. And then everybody would kind of give their feedback and help out. It was the very first time I ever invested in my business, and I took it seriously as a business. So before, I thought I was a business owner, and I was like doing all the things. And I mean, I had an accountant, and she did my things, and I didn't really like pay attention to like running a business though, until I joined this mastermind. And then I realized, oh, there's a lot more to running a business than just having this little hobby. I call it a jobby. It was like my job, but it was more like a hobby. And so this was probably my turning point when I really like started to take my business seriously. That was also the time I read the very first like business book ever. And I read like self-help books, because before that I was like, reading is dumb. I hate reading. The last thing I had read was, I don't know, Twilight or something like that. So for me to read like a business book was a big deal. Yeah, so I started doing brand photography at this point and moved to Ephraim, which there's a ton of businesses down here, right? And so it was like thriving and booming. Okay, maybe not. And everybody knows that they need a website here, right? No. Okay, so it was hard for me to really get the ball rolling when I moved here. But I hooked up with Christine Hanks at the SBDC. She doesn't work there anymore, but she's still around, right? She does stuff. Anyway, she she does like a women's business thing, right? And I really started getting involved with networking and being part of like a bigger community more than just myself. And I started doing headshot days with her. We'd travel around to like the 6 county areas and I do headshots for the different business owners. I got a bid to do 40 women all over the southern part of Utah. So I went around and did, I don't remember how many, 13 counties, I think, and just did a whole tour and did photos of them. So I was able to go and just really hone in on my personal branding and really like niche down on what I did. So, but that was all because I was networking and connecting with people. And really that's been my main way of growing my business is networking, and not like going into a stupid networking meeting and, hi, what's your name? What do you do? But like really like creating real genuine relationships with people and being concerned and caring about their business. Like I feel like sometimes I care more about my clients' business and helping them grow than I actually care about my own business and helping myself grow, because I just really do. I love like helping people, getting that community together. So I started going on like women's retreats, networking events. I do speaking in some networking events. So for me, like I said, like I didn't go to school to do business. Like, actually, I lie a little bit. So when I went to Salt Lake Community College, I like did a double major or minored in business. But I took like accounting and I was so fetching bored that I was like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this. And so I only went to like 1 semester of business classes. But looking back, if I could go back, I probably would have continued doing that, because even though I'm like, I'm just going to be a photographer, there's so much business stuff that goes into it, even if it's not like what you think of as like a business. So for me, that was something that I learned for sure. Okay. Also, my business like kind of morphed as I went. So I started off doing weddings because I was a newlywed and did the wedding thing. And then I had kids. So I started doing baby pictures and then families. And now I'm really a lot more focused on business and helping people grow that way. And so that's kind of what I did. So don't be afraid to like let your business evolve with where you're at in your life. So that's one thing I've really enjoyed, is that I've been able to kind of build my business around my personal life, which is pretty cool. I didn't even start my timer that I said I was going to start. It's fine. I have a little watch here. Okay.
15 minutes.
Oh man, we're gonna have so much time for Q&A. It's awesome. Start thinking of your questions. I know they're just brewing in there. You're like, I really want to learn so much from her. Okay. So here's the things that I tried to think of that I've learned along my journey. Okay. So number 1, adaptability is everything. So my business did not go the way that I thought it would. You know, I thought I'm going to just put my husband through college and it'll be great. And I don't know, it just didn't ever, it never really was the way that I thought that it would be. And my life didn't go the way that I thought. Like I thought I was retiring and I was going to just let my husband do the work finally, you know, and that didn't pan out. It's like, okay, well, at least I have this experience and this business that I have to fall back on. So you just kind of never know where it's going to lead. Again, these are not the same order as in my slide notes. And so you guys get to try and figure out which one I'm talking about. Won't that be fun? Okay. Relationships build your business. Like I was saying, that is, if I could tell you anything, that is the key, is just building true relationships with people, because it's not really what you know, it's who you know most of the time. One of the books that I've read, since I'm like a super business book reader now, is The Gap and the Gain. Have you guys, not that one, it's his other one, Who Not How by Benjamin Hardy. Have you guys read that one? Who likes to read business books in here? You should all be like, me. Anybody? Okay. No, just this guy in the front. He's the star pupil right here. He's got the business. He's coming to lunch. Okay, anyway. So the Who Not How is talking about really connecting with people, finding the people that can do the things that you don't want to do. In fact, I'm actually currently looking for one of my who's, because I don't like to do social media because I'm an old person. So I'm really looking for somebody that wants to, I don't know, intern and write posts for me. Any takers there? Okay, well, we'll talk later.
Great.
Anyway, okay. Let's see. You don't have to do it all alone. So I am like really, I really wanted to just prove that I could do things when I first started out, that I didn't have to rely on anybody, ask anybody for help or anything like that. But once I joined that mastermind and I was like, okay, I don't actually know what I'm doing here. And being able to just be open about that, have a network of people, like a small community of people that you can trust to talk to about your ideas, to get accountability things with them, and just know that there's people out there that know the things that you're struggling with when you're starting your business, or in the middle of it or whatever. So that was a good one. Done is better than perfect. So when I started my business, I was not ready. I wanted everything perfect. But just getting something out there and just taking action is huge. And I'm still learning this one. My coach, I still have a coach too. I still work with a business coach that helps me to grow. And she's always encouraging me to just take action, because I get so stuck in like all the little details, and I want everything to look perfect. And anyway, I have this whole vision, but just doing the thing is so much more valuable than just like spinning your wheels and thinking about it and like planning on how I'm going to do everything. Just like start working. Let's see. Consistency creates momentum. So my very first networking event that I went to was terrifying. Like, I'm a pretty easygoing, like I like to talk to people and I'm not super shy, but for whatever reason, that very first networking event that I went to, I was terrified. I like walked in and I was like shaking, and I like called somebody. I was like, I don't think I can do this. And I don't know what it was, but it was really intimidating. But I went and I sat there and I tried to talk to people that I didn't know, and I was able to like get to know them a little bit and just like breathe. And then I kept going and I kept going, and just going and being consistent just really helps to like become somebody that they know, and just doing the thing, even if you don't want to. Like with social media, I hear. I'm not quite there yet, but also investing in yourself. Sometimes, when you're starting out and you're like this bootstrapping thing, right? Like you don't have a lot of money to start out. And the one thing I was told early on is sometimes you have to spend money to make money. And so, I mean, don't go out and like feel like you have to get a loan, but don't be afraid to invest in some coaching or some training or experience or something like that, to help you progress, because sometimes that will just like catapult you. Charge what you're worth. Sometimes it's easy to just undervalue, because you're like, oh, here I'm in San Pete and there's nobody that will pay my prices. But guess what? Nobody in San Pete pays my prices. So I drive all over the state to get my clients, and that's okay. So just be willing to charge what you're worth. Clarity brings confidence. Am I going in any sort of order? Mostly. Nobody's actually paying attention, so it doesn't matter. This guy is. Thank you. Appreciate it. So as I've moved through my business, and this can relate to anything that you're doing, but I kind of pivoted and I morphed, and I was like, I shoot everything. And I was able, I like, if somebody wanted me to do pictures, sure, I'll take them. What do you need me to do? But now I've really like honed in, and I'm really focusing on personal branding. And as I've done that, it really helps me clarify my message and clarify what it is that I'm doing. So the more you can refine down and like know exactly what it is that you want. I'm not saying you have to only like niche down to one specific thing, but knowing who you're talking to, knowing your ideal client is so much easier if you know that one thing that they're struggling with. And then if other people come and I'm like, yes, I guess I will take your, real estate photos, or whatever. But I don't advertise it, right? So anyway.
So
yeah.
Heather, so on that, I was going to ask, do you turn jobs down now as a result of your focus more on personal branding?
Yeah.
Like, does that give you the confidence to not do certain kinds of work, or does it just kind of depend?
It does. And it does depend. Like, I don't do weddings anymore unless it's like my best friend's kid or like my cousin, or there are definitely things that I will bend on that. But it's a lot easier to know this is what I do say yes to. And by saying no to the things that I don't want to do, it actually opens up more opportunities for me to shoot the things that I want to do and then really build and grow it. But it's hard. It's like when the money's tight and like, oh yeah, I guess I could make $200 doing that. Or I could say, oh, let's just focus and keep my head down. And look, I just booked an $1,800 client for a photo shoot instead. So just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes and no. But if I'm desperate, then yes, I'll do it. I'm just kidding.
Is there a question? Oh, okay.
Okay. And then just remember that success looks different for everybody. When I was first starting out, there was I had been doing it. I was up in Logan. We did like these cute little wedding venue things. What are they called? Wedding fairs or bridal fairs. It's been so long. And I was like the cool photographer. I had this black leather couch for my thing, and I had all these big banners, and like everybody loved talking to me. And it was like, I felt pretty cool, right? And then there was this cute little shy newbie photographer that was like maybe 20, and she had this cute little like barely display. And she was, she was just starting out, and that's fine. She makes over like $1 million a year now. And here I am in Ephraim, okay? So like I look at that and I'm like, she just like nailed it. She just did all the right things, and she took her business in a totally different direction. She does lots of education. And anyway, but I could look at that and be like, boy, I suck, because here I am in Ephraim and like I'm in a different ballgame from her, but it works for me. And if I look back, it was kind of fun to actually look at this and look back and see how far I've come from when I started to where I'm at. So don't hold yourself up to other people. Like use them as, inspiration maybe, but don't feel bad if your business doesn't go as quickly as you think it should, because everybody's success looks different. Okay. And then the last thing I want to talk about before I start showing you all my awesome pictures, I'm just kidding. Your brand is more than just like your logo and your fonts and things like that. Your brand is who you are, and people will hire you for who you are, not just because of what it is that you are selling. So really, that's like my whole message is to own who you are, build your business around that, so around your strengths and all the things that you're good at doing. That way, when you do your business, your like energy just like shines through and people can see that. Okay. I call it in my business, I call it your nest. There's a video that I sometimes show when I present, but the last time I did it, it shut down the internet because of copyright things. So I will not be showing it because, you're blasting this on YouTube. Anyway, has anybody seen You, Me, and Dupree? Yeah, see, it's an old movie. Anyway, you probably wouldn't get the reference. Anyway, showing off your nest. Your nest is like that part of you that is you and what you bring to the table, the unique quirk things that are just you. Okay. And kick awesome is a word that I started in high school that I'm really trying to get like going, like 30 years later. It's starting to hit, you guys. So if you want to steal that, go ahead. Hashtag kick awesome. You'll find only my posts if you ever look that up. Okay. So as you start your businesses, just remember that professional photos and branding like really help you show that you're legit. Okay. So just going to kind of scroll through a few examples of some of my clients and putting them on their social media and on their website, and how it just really like elevates it instead of using stock photos. Like that just like makes me cringe when I see a bunch of stock photos because people can tell. Okay. And then it is sometimes scary to really like be authentic and be yourself and be who you are, but it is the most courageous thing that you'll ever do. So I totally botched that little quote, but you get it. You can read it yourself. If you would like to connect or follow me on socials or any of those things, here's all my information. I do have a little like freebie thing that you can like figure out. It's basically a little thing to help you prepare for a brand shoot and like figuring out your nests. All right. So, anybody have any questions for me? So many questions. Okay, ready, go. Yes.
What was your strategy for finding customers?
Right now or when I started or so right now my strategy is all about personal relationships and networking. So I go to lots of like women's retreats and networking events, and I'm either there shooting at them or I'm there just like connecting with people. And just being in the room and letting people see me with my camera in my hand, people are like, oh, and then I have like a whole committee of fans of just people that I've really personally got to know, and I've done their pictures or not, but they know me personally, and they shout me out all the time on like Facebook and Instagram. They tag me and stuff, and you know, it's usually not my ideal client, but that's typically what I'll do is just through word of mouth and networking. I'm starting to work on some email marketing and that kind of stuff, but again, like looking for people that know that better than I do. Anyway, starting out though, it was like bridal fairs. I did a ton of those, but that was again me being in the room. Like I always feel like I'm a lot better to present myself in person when I'm there versus like on a screen trying to type out what I'm thinking. So, because my energy is just magnetic, right, guys? I can see it all in your faces. You're like so intrigued. Okay, next question. Anybody? Anyone? Yes. My favorite what? My favorite, I really love women's retreats because a lot of times, or I like it when people pay me to go places to take pictures. Like I just got back, well, I guess it's almost been a year. I went to Hawaii last year for somebody, they flew me and my husband out there to do their family pictures on the beach. So that was pretty nice. That might be my top one right now. Yeah. Yeah.
So like timeline wise, when you started like doing photography, when was it that you like started seeing like lots of actual profit? Was it like, did you actually pick up lots of customers quite quickly, or was it like a more slow?
You know, yes and no. It was really just depending on how much I put myself out there. So like as I started, we did all the bridal shows and stuff, and it was pretty profitable. But again, that first, I don't know, 10 years maybe, I don't know if I could have told you what was profitable or not. Like I did not run my business like a business. I like, yay, I got fun play money. And so actual numbers and all of that stuff. So it was probably once I started looking at my business as a business and, you know, keeping track of things that, but I mean, you can make some good money and have it come in, you know, as soon as you start doing it, like just finding people that are willing to pay you. And usually you start off and you're charging like $25 a photo shoot, or I don't know, that's probably what I did. And they were terrible and they got what they paid for. But yeah.
So following up on that,
Mhm.
when you say run your business like a business, what systems or things are you doing now differently than when you started out? And what tips would you give people?
So I started out using like everything was file, like I had a filing cabinet and I had like, I still had contracts and things for like wedding clients. I didn't so much with my portraits. So people would just, you know, pay me checks in the mail or whatever. So now I have a CRM. So I have like a whole system that takes payments and have them sign their contracts online automatically.
Can you explain what a CRM is?
Oh, I always get the words wrong. Client relationship management system, something, probably wrong. It's basically a system where I have all of my clients in a database and I can send them their invoices, I can send them contracts, I can send them forms and questionnaires. It's just kind of like my hub to keep track of all my people versus like a filing cabinet of stuff. So, good question.
So does that handle all your accounting too? It's in the same system.
In a terrible way, so I don't use it for that, no. It has a way to say like, here's your chart, but it doesn't really, it's not great. They need some work on that one. I use Dubsado is the one that I use. There's a bunch of different management softwares out there. But
What's it called?
Dubsado.
Dubsado.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I just work with a bookkeeper, sort of. It's still one of my pain points. Yeah.
So you said that you don't have to work alone, but what about when you struggle with partnerships?
Yeah. So I mean, we worked together. It was hard. And so I don't think I would ever be a partnership again. But I definitely collaborate with people. I have lots of photographers that I work with that we refer each other business to, like, hey, I got this wedding and I don't want to do it, so you can do it. And just having like a community and network of other professionals. So whether or not that's you're running your business by yourself or you're just like, you know, have that, you just need people around you. And like, so that's what I mean by that. Not necessarily I can't run my business by myself. It's more, I just need people around me.
Well,
Are
any
we?
other questions, guys?
Yeah.
Do you have any specific goal now that you want to achieve?
Oh, it's getting run through the rest of it again. We're gonna pause that. Yeah, actually, so I'm getting older, right? And like I love photography, but I really would love to start like either coaching in branding and helping people figure out who it is that they are. I want to run a retreat so that I can, hey, let's figure out your branding. Let's figure out who you are at your core. And then let's nail that down and then do a brand photo shoot while we're there at this beautiful retreat location in Costa Rica or something cool like that, right? So those are my big dreams right now. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, thank you so much, Heather.
Thanks, guys.